Hello and welcome back to the FSF podcast. I am Tim. I am your host, and this is your reminder that you are watching and or listening to the show that is made by nerds for nerds. We're glad to have you. Our guest today in the nerdatorium is a comic book writer, illustrator, producer, publisher that I met back in September at the Monroe Comic Con. Aptly named because it's in Monroe, Michigan. It's one of those weird Zen things, just kind of worked out. But anyway, Monroe Comic Con. If you're not going to Monroe Comic Con, you really need to. It's a great little show, and it'll be coming back in September of 2026. Go to monroecomiccon.com. You'll find out more about it. Now, you may not believe in the law of nerdery at first sight, but on day one, this guest wore his Hoth, Star Wars Hoth baseball jersey. I happened to be wearing a Hoth t-shirt. Day two, he was wearing his Boba Fett jersey, and I wore a Boba Fett shirt. So, obviously, clearly, this very talented comic book writer, illustrator, and publisher needed to come to our little corner of the nerdiverse to talk about his work, his fandoms, and whatever else we can get our grubby little paws on. I am very happy and excited to welcome Brett R. Pinson to the FSF podcast. Welcome to the show, Brett.
Hey, Tim, man. It's good to see you again, buddy.
Likewise.
Yeah, that was fun. I really did feel bad, though. So your audience knows this. I told them where I got my jerseys at. I said, oh, yeah, just go there and order them. They got to have, nope, long sold out.
Oh, they were gone.
Yeah.
I looked. They were pretty cool, too. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I have a suitcase over here in the office here getting everything ready to head out to Cincinnati tomorrow for a show down there.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Of course, I had the jerseys packed. I got those two, plus this is a 3-day show. I have a third jersey. It's a hockey jersey of Man at Arms I got from Geeky Jerseys, who does not sponsor me or the podcast.
Well, Geeky Jerseys. We're going to have to talk with them. But yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely. So yeah, I one of those things where I try to at every Comic-Con go to talk to the artists, the creators, and talk with them a little bit. And I kept walking by you, and I'm like, I'm gonna come back. We're gonna talk. I'm gonna come back. And I got so busy with everything that was happening at the Comic-Con. There was no chance for us to do a quick interview there. So I thought, what the hell? Let's actually do more than just a quick little 30-second spot with Brett, because you've got some cool stuff. And I thought, well, by golly, let's talk with another cool indie guy, and let's talk with about what he's doing and what, how, and why. So the first question, though, Brett, that I always ask every single guest that comes onto the show is, well, for two reasons. Number one, I'd like to know what makes people tick, why they do what they do, why they got involved in what they're involved with. And secondly, as mentioned in the outlet of the show, the outstart of the show, is that I'm a nerd. And nerds love a good origin story. So in the story of Brett Pinson, what got you here, man? What made you say, I want to work in comic books?
Oh, wow. See, that's a loaded question because you didn't have any backstory on me.
It is, yeah.
It started 22 years ago, almost 23 years ago. My best friend and I that I grew up with kind of gone our own way for a while, got back together and started talking about comics like we always did. And he was like, I've been thinking about wanting to do this superhero comic. So we started hashing it together. And that's where Boomtown Scabs was born, basically on the back porch over a couple beers. And it was one of those things where we'd been to Comic Cons. We always went to Motor City Comic Con. This is before they exploded everywhere, where there's one every weekend almost.
Right.
So John and I, and his name is John Sturck Jr., and part of the story I'll get to, explain a couple things here in a minute. So I have to pace myself just for a moment. So you'll have to forgive me on that, and I'll explain as I get into it.
Take your time.
So we created this comic. We went and we were both kind of a little job challenged in 2004. So I volunteered for the Motor City Comic Con because they give you a 3-day pass. So I was able to go work on setup night, which is a Thursday. And then him and I split the cost of a 3-day ticket so we could both be at the Comic Con for 3 days to go talk to other people doing comics to find out how can we publish our comic. We had no desires of finding a publisher or someone paying. I mean, anybody will take somebody that's going to throw money at you. So we found out from some good friends of ours that are now good friends, Matt and Tracy from Web Comics, WEBB Comics. And what they did, and they had dealt with a company that's no longer in business called Pre-Knee Press. They were out of Windsor, and they were
Okay.
set up at the show. So we got all the information, and we were ready to go for 2005, which was the first time we published a comic. So that kind of got us started on that, and that whole doing comics and that. And it started us, do we just do like a little mini comic, do like an ash can, or do we? I said, I don't care if we never do another comic book ever. I said, I want it to be a real comic, and I don't care if I got cases of them sitting in my garage or sheds or anywhere. And that's the only thing I ever did. I want to say I did it, and here's thousands of them over here to prove it. So it ended up being a good deal. We got 2,000 copies printed for like $1,000, so 50 cents an issue. Black and white newsprint, full color cover. We were like,
Sure.
gold. This is perfect. It's a classic comic. So we do our first Comic Con, and the night before the first Comic Con, we created a whole nother comic with it that we did as an ash can, a little 8-page story, but it's a direct spinoff of our Boomtown Scabs. It's called The Adventures of Carl. And he was a rabbit that was literally in one panel, and you don't even see him because he's splattered by a water balloon. So he became his own story. So our thing was the first 5 Comic Cons we did a new 8-page story and printed them. And then wasn't long after we started doing the comic, I actually got hired selling copiers and working in the printing industry. So I had access to a copier. So we were able to run those for free, which is really nice. That's all I had to do was buy the paper. So I was like, I need a stack of paper, load it in, ran hundreds of them, sold them for
There you go.
sold them for $1 a piece, stuff like that. So that kind of going. So this was 2005. 2006, we come out with the second issue. We learned about print on demand, which I'm sure you're familiar with a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are. We started with a company called Comics Press. I now deal on when I do print on demand with Kablam, which is based out of Orlando, Florida. Barry, I've known him since probably 2005, so 2006-ish and that. So I've been good friends with him and his family. Great people. Highly recommend it for any of the print on demand stuff.
I've actually heard of Kablam, so yeah.
Yeah, and so any of my print-on-demand comics are done through them. And so that's many issues 2, 3, and 4 of Boomtown Scabs. So it's 2005. So doing that, we start working on issue 3. We're doing some Comic Cons. We do Motor City. We do Chicago Wizard World. Our last Comic Con that year was Mid-Ohio Con, which is no longer in existence, unfortunately, because it was a great, fun show ran by Roger Price. And the week after that show, we were driving home from a Comic Con. We were hit by a drunk driver. John died.
Oh, no.
So that's how I got my start in comics. And I hated jumped it on you that you didn't know, but I had to get that point. And then from there, after I was recovering, because I was severely injured, I made the decision to continue on because this had been our dream since we were kids.
Yeah.
So what you see of me at the Comic Cons is anything that says Boomtown Press on it. John had a hand in either as he was there when the idea was created, like the Expendables, or he was the artist on Boomtown Scabs, The Adventures of Carl. And then I've met a lot of other great people along the way and got to do a lot of cool things that we always talked about doing, including setting up at like San Diego Comic Con. I got to become friends with George Perez. I've got to meet some of our heroes, like John Romita Jr., Billy Tucci I became friends with. So it's people I've gotten to know over the years because of what we started. And if John had been here with us, there would actually be 3 of us on this podcast because he would have been sitting here right with us talking about all this stuff because he was a nerd like the rest of us. So, but that's how I got my start. And I love every aspect of it. I love creating. I love being a storyteller. After he passed is when I really started teaching myself how to draw. Still not a great artist. I can get by. I'm working on the 5th book of Boomtown Scabs. I've been working on it forever. I'm like this close. And then convention season hit this year and then daytime jobs, stuff like that. So I haven't been able to do as much on it as I want to. So hopefully now as things are settling down in that aspect, I'll have another day of the week I can get back into sitting at the drawing board and working on some of the pages.
Excellent.
So,
well, that's a very packed story.
I know you didn't expect that because I mean we only got a chance to talk for a little bit more at Monroe Comic Con. It was like, oh yeah, this guy's like me. He likes comics. Yeah, I am like you. I like comics, but here's my backstory. You asked for the origin, so now you get the origin.
Now, hey, no, I appreciate the origin, and that's always helpful too. I mean, when I know that there's somebody else's name attached to it, because I think I want to say at Monroe, you mentioned briefly that there was somebody else that used to work with you, but you
Yeah,
didn't say anything as to what had happened or why. So that's quite the loaded story there,
yeah.
and my condolences for losing your best friend like that.
Oh,
That's one
thank you.
heck of a way to go, man.
Yeah, and it's one of
Um,
those things where I was gonna say to women, I have to pace myself to control myself on the emotion side. Uh,
yeah,
it's
I can
one
only
of those things that
imagine. Yeah,
it's it'll be 19 years in December, and it still feels like it was yesterday.
I can only imagine. I
Yeah.
can only imagine. All right. Well, you were talking about the writing and the writing of
Mhm.
the episode that you're working on now. So let's talk about your writing process and how you handle this. Now, in having had an
Mhm.
opportunity to talk to different comic book creators over the years and authors over the years, I find that there's a couple different distinct ways that people go about creating their stories,
Mhm.
and it's primarily one of two ways. Either they write the world first and they story world build first, or they build their character first. So
Mhm.
for you, do you have a particular route that you like to go? Do you like to go character first, or do you go world and story first?
It depends. With Boomtown Scabs, it was the characters first, and then we built the world from there. We came up with the ideas we wanted to have with it, the villains. We wanted to make it each issue was its own story because we wanted kids to be able to pick it up and just enjoy it for what it is.
Okay.
Um, when I did the Expendables, that was an idea, which is more of a kind of a world idea. It's the basic premise of the Expendables, and I started it before the Expendables movies. So I put this out there. Stallone stole my title by coming out with the Expendables movies. But I can tell
What
you
a
exactly where
jerk.
I got mine from. I was looking at I love movies, so I had tons of movies, and I was like, I saw one of the collections I had They Were Expendable. I was like, oh, the Expendables, that'd be a good title for this story. And it's the basic premise is it's came from the idea that okay, they were killing off Captain America in Civil War, so that's around that time. And so this is
Okay.
my answer to how they can kill off these characters and bring them back to life. They insert basically clones that fill the gap. They're basically these clones die. Their job is to die and come back to life. It's a job for them. Literally, they get killed. They walk through the clone machine, start talking about the crap they went through that day. So that's where the basic premise of that story came from, and that was more of
Okay.
just a world. I hadn't created the characters yet, and then the comic shop we were hanging out at a lot back then. I knew a lot of the guys there. We always went to a comic talk on a Friday night. A lot
Okay.
of times just to hang out, and so I put them as the characters, and I said, "This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you guys characters," and they loved it. And it
Well,
was a
that's
one shot.
cool.
It was a one shot comic. It was a lot of fun. And I came up with the idea before John died. I did it after John died. I met a guy at Pittsburgh Comic Con that's from Michigan here, still is, still a good friend to the day. I still um, love the guy, owe him everything I can ever do for him if I ever can. Adam Talley out of Lansing, Michigan, and he does several books himself. He's done his Pleasant Life book. He's done a couple erotica style comics, things like that. But he and I talked. I
Okay.
pitched him the idea, and he goes, "I want to do that. Let's do it." And he just because he knew who I was from everything that happened, he actually reached out to me after the accident because it kind of becomes a good tight knit community of people that work that do
Hmm.
comic cons that create. We kind of get to know each other even if we don't know each other. And
Yeah.
so I appreciated the fact that this guy who we really didn't know reached out to me, and then when I got to meet him in person, we talked about it. And he was so that's what I wanted to do. I said, let's do this. I had the story already, so I finished up the script, sent it to him, and I told him I said the way I write scripts is I will put a little bit of direction in there in terms of certain things that have to be done, but I write them as movie scripts because I have a film degree from Eastern Michigan University. So I learned to
Okay.
write stories like that as scripts. So I always write a film script. And I said, but I want you to be able to um, put your own flair on it. It's not so rigid like some of the stuff from like DC, Marvel,
Hmm.
their scripts. It's like you have to do it exactly like this. You can't waver at all,
Right. Yeah.
stuff like that. I like to give a little creativity to the artists more than just them drawing the characters or throwing a little flair. I want them to say, "Hey, I had this idea, so I did this, this, and this. It didn't change the story, but this is why I did this." And he had mentioned to me when I was finishing up the script that he likes to put himself into it. Well, stupid me, I just wrote him into the script. So Adam is actually an expendable, and he's one of two people that does not die. That's a slight spoiler, but he's one of the two that never dies through the whole thing. And he goes, "It's not what I was thinking," but he liked it and ran with it. And then when I did the collection trade, he actually wrote did a little short story of how it's the origin of Adam Talley and how he got to be part of the Expendables and all that. And so we chat when we get a chance. Cool. He's always doing Kickstarters, and I will forever be, if not one of his first couple people that will support any Kickstarter he does, just as a constant thank you for him being there during that time and very cool doing that book with me. So
yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah,
I like that you put people that you knew into the story. I think it's always a cool touch, because I've heard of a couple other people doing that where they have had, a comic book or a novel, a graphic novel, and they're putting in this fictitious world people that they really know. Obviously names have changed and all these other things, but
I didn't change any names.
Oh, that's even better. Okay.
No, just first names. So like the main two guys, Kevin and Adam, they're friends in real life. I see them once in a great while at Comic Con, chat with them online once in a while. And I put them in there, and they told me how much they loved it. I had actually a little funny story on that one is Adam came to me after the first issue. He goes, it was so cool. He goes, I can't show it to my mom because a couple of things I put in there. It wasn't bad, but it definitely was,
sure.
Things so I said, okay. So I wrote this, became the second issue and did a 3-issue miniseries and collected all 4 issues. But so I said, I did the second one so Adam could show his mom that he's in a comic book and he's a hero.
Just don't look at the first one, Mom.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
And then they came to me afterwards and they told me how much they loved it. They go, you ever want to do more? Just do them. I was like, okay.
That's cool. I love that. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, you're talking about all these different projects that you've worked on and projects for other people. And it's pretty obvious, though, that there's things that we're each known for, things that works that we've done that people identify with who we are.
Yeah.
So what do you feel is your most identifiable work, and which one of your works would you use to introduce people to you?
Well, it's really got to be the Boomtown Scabs. That really is what I've always drawn people in with. It's an all-age friendly superhero comic. That's what people know me the most for. 5 years ago, I partnered up with Scott Zambelli and Kevin Meinert, and we created Bardstone. So I'm kind of known a little bit for that too, because we've done the Crimson Shadows. But on a lot of those, I'm not the writer. I do some cover artwork, but I do a lot of editing and being one of the publishers. So it's a little different role than I do on the Boomtown stuff. But people to understand my writing, I would say start with the Boomtown Scabs. If it's an adult, I say go there and then jump into the Expendables. And that's that gives you a little bit of the type of writing I like to do, which is a little more humorous. I've been working on a couple stories for a while that are not as humorous, a little more different. I don't give too much background on that because, again, until I can get it out there, I don't want anybody stealing my ideas, my title names.
That's only. Yeah, you never know when Sylvester Stallone's listening in. It might take your next idea.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure he's sitting there going, oh, Brett's got another one going on. Yeah, we better get this going here. I'm almost 80.
Hey, yo, let's make the Expendables 17.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to do that, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure. They'll milk that one till it's absolutely dead. Now, I'm also wondering now, I keep coming back to this thought in my head. You have this thing where you got the theme for the Expendables from the back of the movie. I'm like, I wonder where Sylvester Stallone got the title from. Wonder if he looked at the same movie case. Now all of a sudden my brain's playing all the what ifs.
I could see that because they were expendable. If you look it up, it's an old it's an old war movie. So
yeah.
Let me see. One thing I love about doing these podcasts online is we can just get online and look at it. So yeah, they were expendable 1945, World War II movie with John Wayne. So I could see him saying, hey, I've got my own action thing.
My own take on this, yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna kill as many people as we can. We'll call them the Expendables.
Hey, it's an impossibility. It's a possibility.
Yeah. So I never took. I remember when I first found out of his movies, people were like, "Oh, you should check, make sure he didn't steal your story." I was like, "Okay, like he's really going to do that," Because the first issue came out, I think 5 to 6 months before the movie came out. I hadn't even heard of the movie yet.
Yeah, Yeah, that'd be
So
kind of a tight window to get a movie shot, cut, edited,
yeah,
and out.
he would have to
Especially
hack my computer and stole my script, and it's only like a 15-page script. So
big Hollywood production in 6 months typically is not a thing.
no.
So,
Well, it might be now with all this AI garbage, but
well, yeah, that's a whole nother.
yeah.
Well, okay. Hey, since you brought it up, let me
Okay.
ask you about AI and what your take is on AI. Because it is finding its way so prevalently into the art space.
Yes.
And whether you're an artist, a writer, an actor, it seems to be kind of, lurching into each one of these spaces. So how
Yeah.
do you feel about AI and the prevalence of it?
Well, first thing, it's never going away. It's here to stay, and I hear
For
from
sure.
different sources that a lot of the major studios that have been using it for a while. Um, I saw something a couple years ago with was it Soros or something like that, and Tyler Perry stepped back from expanding his studio because of the fact he needed to see what's going to happen with this thing, because it creates everything you need and it looks real, which is scary on that. I personally, AI should be treated only as a tool, not a replacement for any artist, any
Mm-hmm.
writer, any actor. I think there's things that can be used with it. We used to call it deep fake. Now it's become all AI. There are
Right.
things that
Yeah.
can be used with that to do certain things with permission from either the actual people or their
Mm-hmm.
estate. I don't believe in the replacement of art. I think the only thing that you could use it for, if you were to, is maybe if you wanted to play around, not publish any of it, but say if you're trying different for like drawing, if you want to try different poses and you're wanting to see how it would kind of look with a different pose here and
Oh,
there.
sure. Yeah. Okay.
But the fact that most of what people use for AI pulls from other people's works, I think that's a big problem. Um, I don't think we're ever going to be able to fully ban it. Unfortunately, there's a comic book that came out last week. I saw an article on that. They're questioning if the entire artwork was done in AI. Some of the images I looked at it could have been. I guess he
Oh
brought out
boy.
like 75 different covers, did them all as blind bags at the comic shop level. So I don't know if he did or not. I'm not gonna accuse anybody at all. But I've seen that questioning. I'm going, okay, it's something that's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
questioned constantly. So no matter what people do, people are gonna come back and they're gonna try to. It's the witch hunt things that happen a lot. It's like
Yeah.
they're
Oh, for
trying to,
sure.
they want to prove somebody wrong. One, to make themselves feel better, but two is because they want to see, we caught them. And it's like, I don't agree with any of it. I didn't agree when it first really hit. People posting, seeing stories online about, yeah, I did like 25 children's books in one afternoon, put them all on Amazon, and I've made like 50 grand because people don't know any better. And it's like, no, that's garbage.
Yeah.
That takes away from people that truly want to create. I just don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't say that AI won't ever replace all of us on all this stuff, but I really don't think that AI, regardless of how good it gets, will ever be able to replace the actual human experience, the
Yeah.
human
Agreed.
mind, and things like that. So, in terms of actually using it, I don't think it should be used for um, anything. If it, I know like some of the studios have their own AI, it only pulls from their sources. So it's not, and it's stuff that they physically own that they can do that with. But even then, I think it takes away from the true creativity of people that are the true artists. And that's not just drawing, it's the filmmaking, it's the music, it's
Mm-hmm.
everything. And everything, every time you flip through
Yep.
any social media, it's over half of it is all AI generated stuff.
Oh, it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was laying in bed the other night and going through my Facebook reels as you do when you're laying in bed and you're trying to fall asleep. And so before I dropped the phone on my face, I was noticing that like 6 in a row were all the Sora, you know,
Yeah.
AI videos, and
Yeah. I've noticed that the last couple of weeks, they've gotten a lot more of those Sora videos popping up.
they're like crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm of the mindset that AI is a tool that should be used to help the creator, not become the creation.
Correct.
You know, so I mean, like I'll be perfectly honest. I've used AI in a few things, but it's for something that I have already written, and I'm just looking for a little bit better way to reword it, where
Mhm.
it'll change a word or two for me, but not change the whole sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe I just needed, have it check my punctuation and things like that, where it's, and I'm talking about things like Grammarly, things like that, where that is AI based, but
Yeah.
it's it's not writing it for you. It's putting it into better grammar for you, and things like that. So it's checking what you've already done.
Yeah.
I'm okay with things along those lines, but I've also seen some of the things like you were talking about, like the people are going, "Oh yeah, I wrote like 20 books last weekend." No, you
Yeah.
didn't. You told AI to do something. You didn't. You were
Yeah.
not an artist. You are not a writer. I could go on this topic for quite
Yeah.
a long time. If you listen carefully on other episodes of this podcast, you will hear me building my soapbox as I'm talking. The hammer and the nails just click, click,
Yeah.
click, click, click. But
See,
okay,
and the thing with even digital stuff, I like, I use Photoshop, I use digital.
hmm
I have two screens here, and the one that's down here, that one there, is my drawing screen. I like having those, but I still initially draw everything paper. That's where
there
I
you
like to
go.
start. That's how I start everything, and then I go from there. And then you can work. Then you can work in the digital stuff to help clean up, fix stuff, digitally
Sure.
ink it, color it. I mean, even when the digital stuff first come out, there was a kind of a thing like, oh, I don't want to get rid of it. And younger people always gravitate towards the newer technology we did when we were younger and
Well,
things like
yeah,
that. So I think it's all, can be used as a tool, but at the same time, um, and it's funny because the conversations changed at Comic Con. I used to get all the time, oh, is this digital artwork? And you have to ask people, what does that mean? At the time, nobody knew how to answer that. This is pre-AI, of course.
yeah,
And basically, it's like this. It's like, yeah, I still, whether you draw it on a tablet or a screen or draw on paper, your hand still had to move and do the mark, stuff like that.
exactly.
And so it's all still hand drawn. I always hand draw. I digitally color. And I said the reason I digitally color is I'm not very good at it. So when I screw up, I can go back and fix it. So
Easier to fix. Yeah, sure.
it's not where if I was hand coloring
hmm
these things, I'd have to make backup copies just because that's what I'd have to color. I would not be coloring on the actual originals because I don't trust myself.
Yeah,
I'm not that good, and I
I
fully
get
admit it.
that. Yeah.
You know? And
Hey.
then you get people like a Jay Fosgit who's doing the current run of I Hate Fairyland, and God love Jay Fosgit. He actually can hand letter too, so he can draw, color,
That's
and hand
impressive.
letter his stuff. So I know he uses some computer stuff too, but I've seen him literally hand lettering stuff, and he's just an amazing guy. So
Yeah, I don't have an issue with digital artwork because, like you said, your hand
Mhm.
still has to do the work. You're
Right.
still doing the drawing. You're still getting, and if you want to digitally color, I don't have a problem with that either because you're selecting the colors, you're selecting the
Mhm.
the tone, the shade, everything else. So it's still, the human mind. It's still the human emotion. There's still the human experience wrapped up in that.
Right.
I have a distinct problem with straight up AI art, but that's
Mhm.
that's a whole nother that's a whole nother thing. But I know a couple
Yeah.
guys um who do digital work and they're phenomenal artists
Oh
just
yeah, and
because
there's
the medium.
nothing
Yeah,
wrong with it at all. I agree with you on that.
yeah,
And the funny thing is, people that come asking about this, it's not just me, but other people at Comic Cons. It's a lot of younger people. They don't understand exactly what they're asking. They
right,
say, "Oh, is this
right.
digital?" It's like, yes, it wasn't hand colored. It wasn't digital. It doesn't take at the time. I think some people still were like, they were kind of like, especially young people trying to understand, is this like, did it just happen or no, you still had to choose the colors. Now with
Yeah,
AI stuff, I know a couple guys have gotten hit up by people going, oh, is this all AI? And it's like, no, this is my artwork. So
right.
they've switched it from digital to saying AI. So
Yeah, I think a lot of people get the two conflated, that they're the same thing.
yeah,
And so that they look at it and go, oh, digital artwork, obviously it's AI, and that's not the case. So there is that line in the sand between the two of them.
yep,
Okay. I was just curious what your thoughts were on it, and I'm always glad to see when
yep.
I always feel
Well,
like it's a small moral victory when somebody else says, "I agree with you," and I'm like, "Yay!"
there's a lot of us out in the Comic Con community that do. I see it posting all the time, a lot more. I don't post a lot of stuff on the socials about any of this stuff, but it's definitely something I agree that it's not good to replace anybody with. And if anybody does accuse me of that, I have originals with me at every show that I can whip out and show you. Okay, here's some of the print work I've done, and you can see here's this, here's this, here's this. Yep, I penciled this. I lightbox inked it here to clean it up so I could scan it in. So I had a clean scan to digitally color it. So I always
There you
have
go.
stuff to show because you get people that try to accuse of different things just because they don't understand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate, but it makes sense.
it is.
All right. Well, let's switch gears here a little bit. We've been talking about your art and your artwork and all these other things. Now, one of the things we were talking about this pre-show, I was today years old when I realized that you had a podcast. Now I realize and understand that it went into what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're not doing it for a while. Anyway,
We have
it's in hiatus.
You can say hiatus. We kind of technically ended it, but we didn't leave it to where it's 100% never going to come back. We can come back and do like specials. It's kind of how we would treat it.
Some fun one-offs here and there.
Yep. And maybe even not call them episodes anymore. Like, I started with my buddy Scott Zambelli, who I mentioned earlier, who I do Bardstone with. And we were just looking to an outlet for creativity, to be able to talk about the stuff we do. He's traveled like I have. We've traveled around the country doing Comic Cons. Mm-hmm. He's a phenomenal artist. He's also our writer on the Crimson Shadows book. So it's a lot of that stuff there. So we've got a lot that we can talk about in that. And we talked a lot about creation of comics over the years. We ended up talking a lot of movies because we're both big movie guys. We're both big Star Wars fans. So of course we had to talk a lot of Star Wars, and definitely have been very critical of some of the Star Wars stuff that come out in the last several years, because we both love Star Wars so much that the garbage that came out, we were not very happy with. But then there has been good stuff. I mean, there's been good things like Ahsoka, Bad Batch, Rebels, stuff like that. So we talked some good stuff on that too. And we give our reviews of what we like. It's not all review shows, but we just kind of ramble on. When things happen in the industry, like when the AI stuff started to come out, Ed talked about that a few times at different aspects. We see stuff in the industry going on for films as well as comics. We try to give our perspective on what we see with that as well. And then, of course, we gave our reviews of some of the shows that we travel to. And then get our buddy Kevin on once in a while with us to talk about all the stuff we did with Bardstone and things like that. So it was just a lot of fun. But it got to the point, it was schedule changes in the last few months, new job changes for Scott. It was like, okay, we're going to step back, and take a break from this. I've talked about for a while trying to do a separate podcast anyways. I just haven't figured out exactly what I want to do yet with it. I'll probably start something after the first year. Let's get through the rest of this year and go from there. I like having an outlet too, where even my pals that are all doing comic stuff have a place to come and promote it, and we can get it out there into the ether and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And it was called Odd Musings. Is that something that's out there that people can still find, or is it?
Oh yeah. You can find us on YouTube for sure. There might be some stuff still on Facebook. I know Facebook keeps changing their live video stream stuff, because we always do it live, but all our stuff is up on YouTube. Just kind of put up Odd Musings. I stopped a few years back ripping the audio and uploading just the audio. Just for time concerns. I was like, well, we weren't getting anything from it. So you can go back and listen to probably the first, I think, couple hundred episodes. Because we did over 400, I think about 415 or something like that. I forget how many we did. But you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube. So yeah.
Yeah, 1 or 2 episodes, no big deal. Okay.
Yeah, just a few.
All right. Oh, so guys, go check out Odd Musings on YouTube. Check it out. Brett's a pretty cool dude. I'm pretty sure the episodes are going to be fun. I'm going to check them out myself, just because I found out about it today, and I was like, oh, there was a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to brettpinson.com, I still have a link there.
That's how I found out about it, because I didn't scroll down far enough before. I scrolled down far enough, and I was, oh, it's a podcast. Okay. So I'm going to check that out. All right. So I mentioned in the outset of this interview that, one of the ways that the reason I met you is because of your super awesome, cool Hoth jersey. And I stopped you. I'm like, oh my God, that was awesome. Where did you get that thing? But so I bring that up because, I always love to know, like I said, I'd like to know what makes people tick, and I'd like to know, where their fandoms are at and everything else. So favorite fandoms, we all have them.
Yeah.
What's your number one fandom and why?
It's a tie, really, and part of it is just as I've changed over the years, and they're both very similar. Star Wars, of course, and then Harry Potter. And the reason I say they're similar is, I like the joke and I laugh at it, is that Harry Potter's just Star Wars with sucky lightsabers,
Lucky lightsabers, yes.
and that, but it's always been, always been a Star Wars fan.
Okay.
And even when it wasn't cool anymore, after you're a kid and you grow up in the late 80s and the 90s, if you go watch Fanboys, I mean, that's kind of what people thought about Star Wars. They're like, Star Wars, nobody cares about Star Wars, until they do the special editions, and then they all showed up at the theaters again. And
yeah,
like, yeah, we got to see it live. Yeah, it's like it's back. And so it was the point of when they started the books in the 90s, like the Timothy Zahn stuff. I read all those. I read tons of the books that were coming out in the 96, 97, when the figures started coming back out. I started buying. I was buying 2 of each figure, to the point of I had a good friend of mine and his wife and 7-year-old son were up this past weekend from DC, so I got a chance to see them. That I went through some of my back stock and seen what duplicates I hadn't opened up, and because I know he's been getting Star Wars stuff, and Uncle Brett did, is credited with sending him a Razor Crest, big one.
That's awesome.
So it's
I'm up for adoption, Uncle Brett.
Yeah, well, it ain't happening. And then his dad, though, my nephew's dad, has gotten him a bunch of other bigger ships, a couple things, got a bunch of other stuff. Been buying figures and that on eBay, so he's got like a whole slew of army of like stormtroopers and everything else.
Oh, that's cool,
and all that stuff. So I gave him some of the stuff I had. I was like, okay, I don't think he has these. And I had an extra Palpatine unopened. I had an extra Boba Fett. I had a few bounty hunters I knew he didn't have, and stuff like that. So you'd see this kid and give him this stuff, and the kid is like how we were at that age, just like, this is awesome, And I get a text from my buddy at that night after they got back to their hotel. He goes, "This room looks like Christmas exploded all over it," and he's loving every minute of it. Because my buddy's always like, he's like, "Hey, he goes, this is just too cool." He goes, "I'm getting him all the stuff that we never got because we couldn't get him everything."
Right? Yeah.
And it's his only son, it's only kid, and so I'm like, "Yeah, get him everything." And that's why I say, I got him the Razor Crest, but you know what that means. He's trying to get his wife to kill him. But I think it's just cool. And then, like he'll text me at different times and say, "Oh yeah, we got this, got that." He's told me all the stuff he's gotten him that he hasn't given to him yet. So I don't have to worry about the kid finding the podcast. He doesn't listen to podcasts at 7, but but it's just, I think it's awesome. So for me, Star Wars has always been the thing. And that's where I like the jerseys, like, oh my God, it's like, and I literally thought about them for a little bit. And I don't know. I was kind of going, do I want to spend the money? And in the back of my mind is going, yeah. And then I get this thing going, oh, hey, you use your Disney credit card, you get this kind of discount and this and that. So I was like, oh, I can save money. Oh, and they want me to use my card because I haven't used it in a while. Sure, I'll go ahead and do that.
I'll help keep the economy going. Okay,
yes.
fine.
So I helped save the economy. That, and then I bought the HasLabs. I love HasLabs. I've got it over on the shelf over here. I bought I haven't opened the box. Don't know if I will, but it's the land speeder with Luke, and they just came out with a couple months ago. I had pre-ordered that.
Oh,
so
nice.
I just got that. So I still buy toys. I mean, I've got it on my wall here. You can see a few of them back here. Some figures, some from Disney. I've got over here some of when they came out with the droids ones. So really, I mean, Star Wars first, and then Harry Potter's like right there with it. Because I fell in love with the books when I read the first one back in '97, and and so that was another just like, wow, this is just another story that hit me in the right area at different times. So I've gotten the other room. I've got like wands, and I don't have any robes though. I haven't bought any Harry Potter robes yet. I keep thinking about it, but I did get to go to Epic about 3 weeks ago. So I got to go to the new Wizarding World area and see some of that.
Oh, cool.
So
very cool.
And I've been to Galaxy Edge once and already trying to plan some more trips for that. So
I got to get to Galaxy's Edge. That's killing me.
I'll tell you this.
I have a grandson now, and he's just turning 2. So I've already made my son well aware that if he takes my grandson to Galaxy's Edge without me, that we'll have to have some discussions about continuance in this family.
Well, I told my buddy, I said, because he wants to take his son to Galaxy's Edge. He really wants to go. I had explained exactly what it was. It's a bigger theme park around it, so it's not just all Star Wars, but it's cool because he feels like you're really there. But I said, well, when are we planning this trip? Because Uncle Brett's got to go.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So it's cool. The Rise of the Resistance ride is one of the best rides I've ever been on. Just for everything. I mean, there's got screen stuff, but the amount of stuff they built full size is amazing. Like when you're riding the vehicle under AT-ATs and they are full size above you, it's like, oh my god, this is just amazing.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but very, very, very good things about it, and I can tell you unequivocally that when I see the Millennium Falcon in person, I will probably cry. That is to me Millennium Falcon, Han Solo. Those that is Han Solo is my absolute all-time favorite Star Wars character. Has been for a long, long time. Harrison Ford is my favorite actor. My middle son's middle name is Harrison.
Nice.
So I was able to squeeze that one in past the wife. But so I can tell you unequivocally, I'm going there and I'm going to be like holding my grandson. Look, this is what Grandpa loves.
I can see that because I trust me, I got emotional when I saw it, and I did when you do the Falcon Smugglers Run ride, you go in there and you're in there and you get to sit. So I would picture me sitting, at the chessboard game, they have, and it's,
nice.
you're in that hold area. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm here, and then and being outside of it, seeing the full thing right there, that it's almost to scale, like exactly what it should be. The sounds crazy around there, it really feels like you're in a Star Wars world at that point. And then it's all First Order stuff, so you get a lot of the First Orders walking around, but they did incorporate Mandalorian and Grogu, and I think they've incorporated some Boba Fett as well now, because they realize you've got to have some of that. In fact, I mean, we have to get into a Star Wars show, but with the Force Awakens being just okay, and then Rian Johnson totally screwing that trilogy with the Last Jedi, it's like, what are they going to do? They had that stuff out there. They have to do it, but they can't just go back to the original just yet. But hopefully with Mandalorian stuff, Ahsoka, and we'll see how Starfighter is next year. Hopefully they can get back on track to good Star Wars. We've had a few little bits, but definitely need some good Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Okay.
So
very cool. All right, Brett, we have worked our way through this interview to the point where we need to ask you a silly question.
All right.
So the purpose of this, or the history on this silly question rather, is that team member Kathleen had been out and about with her daughter, who was about 5.5 or 6 at the time when this happened. And they asked her daughter this question, and Kathleen was like, well, that's rude. You should never, ever age out of this question. So that question is, Brett Pinson, what's your favorite dinosaur?
Ooh, that's such a great question. I've always loved the Brontosaurus.
There you go. All right.
It's not, you got to like some of the other ones, but I just always loved the Brontosaurus. And it's one of those ones having dinosaurs as a kid, I think I just always just liked that one. I like the length, the size, the hugeness of it. Yeah. Yep. Followed by the
Fair enough.
But yeah, definitely the Brontosaurus.
All right. 2 solid picks there. We'll include Stegosaurus. All right. Well, Brett, thank you so much for being on the FSF podcast today. Where can our listeners and viewers go to find out more about you, your work, or anything you've got coming up?
Tim, they can go to www.brettpinson.com. BRETT, P as in Peter, INSON.
There we go. Very good. Said in the very clear and pronounceable radio voice. That was pretty impressive.
I also used to do phone ordering about 35 years ago, so I learned how to do certain things on the phone to make sure people could understand you.
Yeah, I had to learn years ago to be a little bit more clear on enunciating my name, because some people thought Tim sounded like Ken. And I'm like, I'm not sure how we got there, but okay.
Well, that's okay. I had an ex way back in college whose aunt thought my name was Fred.
Well, you'll have that when you don't listen. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll make sure to put a link for your website down in the show notes down below so people can check out what you've got going on. And speaking of what we've got going on, this seems like a prime opportunity to remind you guys that the most important free thing, that's right, free, $0, cost you nada, is to follow our show on YouTube. It helps us continue to grow, helps us to get more amazing guests like Brett Pinson here today, and have these moments for you to be able to listen to and hopefully give you some laughs as well. So please consider following our show. Pretty please, sugar on top. It really helps, I promise. And go check out Brent's work as well. You can even go check out the Odd Musings, the old podcast, until he gets something new for you to listen to. So, but until then, go check out his work. I'll go to brettpinson.com. Like I said, there'll be a link down below. Brett, thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you to everyone for listening, and may the force be with you as you continue to live long and prosper. Goodbye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference to any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.